Hey everyone, welcome back to Cracking the GRE Math Subject Test. This is Calculus 1. We're on question number 18. This question is asking us to find the value of the nth derivative of this function 1 over 1 minus 2x at x equals negative 1/2. And I think the easiest way to approach this problem is to just take the first few derivatives and look for a pattern. So if we write f of x, this is like the 0th derivative here, equals, I'm going to write 1 minus 2x to the negative 1 power. That's the same as 1 over 1 minus 2x. Then the first derivative is going to be negative, I'll write negative 1 times 1 minus 2x to the negative 2 power. And then we have to use the chain rule, so this is going to be multiplied by negative 2, which I'm going to write as negative 1 times 2. Okay. Now, if I'm not going to combine these just so that if there's a pattern we can see it. If we take the second derivative, we'll get, just write this negative 1. Now this negative 2 exponent comes down in front, so that's negative 2 times 1 minus 2x to the negative 3 power. And we still have this negative 1 and this 2. And then we're going to multiply by another negative 1 and another 2, again because of the chain rule. Alright, and let's take one more just to get the pattern going. So we still have this negative 1 and this negative 2, and now we're going to take the derivative of 1 minus 2x to the negative 3, so we're going to have a negative 3 times 1 minus 2x raised to the negative 4th power, and then we still have this negative 1 times 2 times negative 1 times 2, and then we'll have to multiply by another negative 1 times 2 from the chain rule. So I think a pattern is starting to emerge. I think we can write that f to the nth derivative of x is going to equal, well, here we're going to have negative 1 times negative 2 times negative 3. So that's the same thing as like negative 1, if we collect all the negatives, that's like negative 1 to the nth power times n factorial. 1 times 2 times 3. So yeah, even that's just going to keep going because you have a 4 coming down the next time, and then a 5. So there's going to be an n factorial there. And then here we're going to have a 1 minus 2x to the negative n minus 1. And the third derivative is negative, we're going to have a negative 4th power up there. So it's always going to be 1 less than the negative of the derivative. And then let's see how many negative 1s we have here. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to have another negative 1 to the nth power. And then we're going to have 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be 2 to the n. Okay. So I think we can simplify this. The negative 1 to the n times the negative 1 to the n is going to be negative 1 to the 2n, which is just 1. And so this is going to be our expression now. N factorial, 1 minus 2x to the negative n minus 1 times 2 to the n. And it's asking us for the derivative at x equals negative 1/2. So if we plug in negative 1/2 for x, we get n factorial, 1 minus 2 times negative 1/2 to the negative n minus 1 times 2 to the nth power. Well, this can simplify to negative 2 times negative 1/2, that's going to be a positive 1. So we're going to have a 1 plus 1 here, which is just 2. So we have n factorial, 2 to the negative n minus 1, and 2 to the n. Well, that also simplifies to n factorial, and negative n and positive n are going to cancel out. So we're going to have 2 to the negative 1, which is the same thing as 1/2. So our answer is n factorial over 2, which is the same thing as 1/2 times n factorial, or answer B.